Well, good morning, good afternoon again, everybody, and welcome. Great to see you all. So my topic for today is living your dream, a life of purpose, passion, and persistence. And I would suggest that no matter where you are on your path, there is the opportunity to live our dream. And whether the dream is the dream job, the dream volunteer work, the dream place to live, the dream situation, there is a way for that to happen. And that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. We're not here, and you've heard me say this before, and you'll hear me say this again. We are not here to just pay bills and die. Yes. We are not just here to do that, and sometimes it might feel like, well, that's, it's the first of the month and you're writing the check and you got $4.23 left in the checking account and you're like, what am I doing here? Or getting up and going to work again, and work really feels a lot like work. And you're like, I just don't want to, this is too hard. This is not what I had in mind. There's a way to get past all of that and live our dream. Again, in purpose, in passion, and persistence. So why? What's our purpose? What are we doing here? For many of us, our purpose over time has changed. We started being somebody's mother or father, and we still are and always will be. We might have been somebody's husband or wife or spouse or partner, and perhaps that changed. And for my story, that changed, and sometimes that happens. And at some point, there's the opportunity very often to say, okay, that experience, that 10 years or 20 years or 50 years or whatever it was, and also in a job situation. Many of us worked at a job for some number of years and we either retired from it, or I like to say lovingly released, laid off, which is what I was several years ago, from it, or for whatever reason, we don't do that anymore. Sometimes there's the temptation to think that that's all there is. Remember Peggy Lee. That's such, and at the risk of dating myself, and the younger people listening might not remember that, but if that's all there is, let's keep dancing. And it's not a particularly happy song, but still there's a lesson there, because that's not all there is. Whatever that was, that's not all there is, because there's the opportunity to turn the page into the next chapter of our lives. If you've been through a traumatic experience, the ending of a job, or someone's death, or a change in a relationship, you know that it can be really traumatic. And trauma is described as by some people, as when we lose our sense of self. I was somebody's husband or wife. I was what I did. I was whatever the case might be. And now I'm not that anymore, and that has changed. And so it's so important for us to allow ourselves to feel the grief and the loss and the anger and the hurt and all the rest of that, so that we can move forward past it, rather than staying stuck in the grief, but also covering ourselves up with toxic positivity and spiritual bypass, which you've heard me talk about before. But it's all good and everything is in divine order and everything is as it should be, and all of those statements are absolutely true, but the fact is our hearts are breaking. So we have to allow ourselves to feel that grief so that we can move forward. And as we move forward, we find that, and sometimes need to look for that, but also find that purpose. So what's next for us? Whether you're 25 or 75 or 105, what's our purpose? What's next for us? Because we need a reason to get out of bed in the morning. Maybe it's just to take the dog out, and that's sufficient. Maggie's waiting for me. Okay, it's time. And sometimes that's sufficient purpose, but chances are we need to allow ourselves to have more than that. Very often we need to repack our bags. And I think you've heard me talk about great book, and the title is Repacking Our Bags. But the premise is that, so we've carried this identity and these purposes and these ideas and these dreams with us for some number of years or decades or centuries. And at some point, it's time to unpack it and see if this still works for us or if it's time for something new. You've heard the expression whiff 'em. In the business world, when I was in sales, we used to use that a lot. The whiff 'em. What's in it for me? So as we think about our dreams, as we think about our goals and our ideas, well, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? Not just pay bills and die. What do I want to do with my life? What lights me up? What makes my tail wag? What am I here to do in this next chapter of my life? And it must be my dream, my passion, not my partner's, not my kids', not what I think I should, one of my favorite words, as you know, not what I should do, not what I think I should do, but what really lights me up. And we'll talk more about that. If we're working for the money, and all we're doing is working for the money, it's not enough. However much they pay you, you're not making enough. Because you remember the song, and I'm dating myself again, everybody's working for the weekend. Yeah. And I know, right, and how sad that everybody's working for the weekend, because, and you've heard me talk about this before as well, that you come home, thank God it's Friday, and you come home and start, and if you've ever had a job like this, you know what I'm talking about. You come home Friday night and you start dreading going back to work Monday morning. And so you lose the entire weekend because you're thinking about how much you don't want to do something that's 2 or 3 days away. Because guess what? If you work 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, that's 5 days. The weekend is only 2. Whose idea was this, right? Yeah. Oh, that it would be the other way around, or that we would find work, whatever that is, and whether it's paid work or volunteer work or whatever, find something that you get out of bed and say, rather than saying, good God, morning, you say, good morning, God, and bound out of bed and get ready to go and do what you're going to go and do. That's what we're here for, is to find that passion and that purpose. So why are we here? And what would our lives look like if we had this passion and this joy? So that's what we're talking about this morning. And I'm going to share ideas on doing, being, and having, starting with doing. 2 months ago, we started our 3 months of classes on Tuesday night, and mine was the first using the 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity by Edwene Gaines and the 4 Agreements. And one of the spiritual laws that she talks about is finding our divine purpose. So, again, not just to pay bills and die, but what am I here for? What really am I passionate about? What really bugs me? Sometimes we see that and it's so wonderful and it touches our hearts. And sometimes when we see that and it just makes us so angry, that's passion. and an opportunity to do something about it. Because you have a gift that no one else has. You have a passion, a wisdom, experience, that compassion that no one else has. No one else brings to the table what you bring. And if you don't fulfill that, if you don't use that, then the world is missing out on that wisdom and that talent and that passion that you have. And we all have something different. Thank God for Cahill and Deline. You guys are so awesome and we love you. I don't sing. I love you all too much to sing, for me to sing. And there are ministers out there that sing, and I just so respect them and so love them, and it's just so lovely because I don't sing. I don't paint or do artwork. And we have wonderful people in our congregation that do, and it's so great. My stick persons are not particularly impressive. I don't do that. I don't ski. Do you ski? No? Thanks be to God for you. So back in the day, I worked for a technology company, and I was in customer service and support, and we had they called it 100% club. And so every year I was partnership with the salesperson, and I was customer service. And every year, if the team made their sales goal, we would get a trip someplace. And these were in the days when technology, I mean, there was a lot of money and everything was wonderful. And so we went on a cruise one year. And we went skiing twice, once to Beaver Creek and once to Vail, Colorado. And it's pretty amazing because they fly you there, they give you have the lodging, you have the meals, you have an envelope of money to buy your sweatshirts and your whatever, and lift tickets. And my husband at the time loved to ski. And he's like, well, come on. And I'm like, no, I don't do that. You know, God's grace is sufficient for me. My grace is not sufficient for me. I'm not graceful on skis. I don't want to do this. But okay. So they're whooshing and doing what they're doing. And I went to the button. Well, no, I could not figure out how to stop. So I'm in the class. Yeah, I know. Now I know. So I'm in the class, and you're supposed to do the bowl so you can stop. Well, it was not a bowl for the class. There was no other side of the bowl. And so I'm like, whose idea was this? So I don't know I can't figure out how to stop. And so I sat down. And so left some portion of my backside because it scraped. That packed snow and ice is not particularly soft. And so I left some amount of my backside on the slope there. Was not happy. So, and I spent some time beating myself up, for the love of God, Jerry, why can't you ski? Because I don't. How important it is for us to recognize our gifts, our talents, our wisdom, and recognize what's not ours, what is ours to do and what's not ours to do. I do wonderful work in the world of other things. I don't do the aforementioned. And that's okay, because other people do that. And if we all skied, there wouldn't be enough snow-covered mountains for everybody. Right. So I'm making room for you by not doing that. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Now, finding our dream and our passion and our divine purpose is different from a goal. Because our divine purpose is not to go home this afternoon and clean out the garage. Our divine purpose is not to go wash the car. Our divine purpose is much bigger than that and in making a difference in the world. And that sounds really big, but I suggest for all of us, there is something that we can be doing to make a difference in the world. So I want to quote from Edwin's book, The Four Spiritual Laws of Prosperity. Oh, we're talking about doing. So after looking carefully at the world, we must pick out one thing that we feel needs transforming, something that would be fun for us to get involved in repairing, shifting, restructuring, fixing, and perfecting. Please note I use the word fun. This is not about martyrdom or great personal sacrifice. It is about focus, joy, and a sense of purposeful, possible achievement. Next, we must take a bold step and make a 100% commitment to fixing the problem, and I'll change that, my word, opportunity, we have identified, followed by devoting our energies, time, talents, skills, and money to transforming that one piece of the earthly puzzle. Keep in mind what's really important is not whether the problem ever gets solved, it's that you're working toward the solution with dedication and persistence. So what makes your tail wag? What really bothers you? Maybe it's homeless pets. We have people in our congregation that work with homeless pets and foster pets, and I have no idea how y'all do that, because if they came into my house, I'd want to keep them. So for the people that do that, I'm sorry? Foster failure, yes. So for the 16 dogs that are in my house now that I was fostering, no. But some people can do that, and thank the universe for you that you can do that. So homeless dear ones, homeless youth. You know that I work with 18 to 25-year-olds that need housing and employment. The environment, it just really honks me off that you get to fill in the blank. Whatever it is that lights you up, there's an opportunity. Maybe it's just our feeling the need to reach out to somebody that we haven't seen in a while. And it doesn't necessarily take much, but we could write a card and put the stamp on the envelope and drop it in the mail. Hey, I was thinking about you today, and I hope you're doing well. I got a card. I got a card in the mail yesterday, a real live, genuine postage stamp in an envelope. It was the coolest thing. It wasn't a text. It wasn't an email. It wasn't a postcard about an election. It wasn't offering me solar paneling or God knows what. It was that somebody took the time to write a card and get a stamp and say, hey, I'm thinking about you. What an amazing service to the world that we could do. One a week, two a week. Just go through your contact list on your phone or your address book that's on your desk and just reach out. Hey, I'm thinking about you today. And feel the feeling as you're expressing love, and know that how you feel when you get something is how that person is going to feel as well. So that's the doing. And then there's also the being. At peace. We talked earlier about that experience of grieving and of feeling the loss and feeling the need for forgiveness. I was in Ventura last Sunday thinking it was going to be 70 degrees and it was going to be so wonderful, and it so wasn't. It was about 90 degrees right on the coast, just like we were, which is okay. But just had a wonderful drive up on Saturday and home on Sunday, and did my talk on forgiveness and my forgiveness workshop. And it's always so wonderful because I always get amazing insights talking about this that we either don't talk about or just wave the magic wand and say, oh, okay, I forgive you. Except sometimes it takes more than that. And sometimes it takes a lot more than that. But our experience of peace will not manifest for us until we allow ourselves to feel it so we can heal it. And whatever that is, that it requires that. Peace requires us, invites and encourages, and requires us to lovingly release that word should. And again, anything in your life that you're doing because you should, I so invite us, and I'll include myself in that as well, to look and see if we really should still be doing that. And if not, is there a way to change that to I want to? Or is there a way for us to not do that? Because if I should, chances are pretty good that I don't want to. So doing, being, and having. Living the life, living our dream, living this amazing life requires us to have the necessary supplies. So, and in the book, The 4 Spiritual Laws of Prosperity, Edwin Gaines talks about this, that it's physical health, so that we can go and do what we want to go and do. Fulfilling work, and again, whether work is your painting, your music, your garden, your pets, your volunteer work, or actually getting up and going and doing something 9 to 5 or something that you're paid for, it's some reason to get out of bed in the morning and what we're doing in the world potentially outside of our 4 walls. So the physical health, the work, the wonderful relationships, and that's where the forgiveness and the healing and all the rest of that comes in. And her words, not mine, all the money we can spend. Could you put up with that? Yeah. All the money you could spend? Yeah. So the good news is that everything in the having part are things that we can ask the question, what must I change about myself? What do I believe about this area of my life that I have the opportunity to change or to heal so that I can experience that greater financial abundance, that greater physical health, that wonderful work? So we're not stuck in any of those. There's the potential to change all of those. So we talked about purpose and passion, and often the life of our dreams requires persistence. I want to do this. I really want to do this. Oh, that didn't work. Okay, well then let's go this way. That didn't manifest the way I wanted to. Okay, then let's go about it another way. That road is closed. Let's go a different way. But unless we have a burning desire for conflict and drama, and some people do, and if we find ourselves as just one, it's like, life, somebody said, life is like a beaver colony, one damn thing after another. If it is, if we find that, then what's going on here? What do I believe about this? And what do I need to change? And great little book, Let It Be Easy, Simple Actions to Create an Extraordinary Life by Tolly Burkan. He talks about letting it be easy. There we go. Speak the truth. Yes. No. I don't know. All of those, and that's for another Sunday morning. Ask for what you want. I keep learning that lesson. Oh, I'll do it. Well, okay. Or there's somebody else, I bet, that would love to do that. So get your team, your earthly team involved, your spiritual team involved to help with whatever it is you're looking for. Keep your agreements with yourself and others, or make new ones. It's okay, at the time I agreed to do this and it was absolutely wonderful, but my life has changed, what's important to me has changed, and I don't want to do this, or I'm not able to do this, or I choose not to do this. Let's make a new agreement. And take responsibility for your experiences, because blame and victimhood can be tiring. And let it be easy. So I have this calling, I wouldn't say passion maybe, but this calling especially, to go and see people that I haven't seen in a really long time. And I have some resources that allow me to do that. And so last weekend, I was going to fly to Providence, Rhode Island, and drive down to the Woods Hole, Massachusetts area, almost the end of Cape Cod, and visit a dear friend and her family that I used to work with that I haven't seen in 10 years or better. So did my thing, went to the airport, I'm there waiting, and as you may recall, on Friday before this last one, San Diego was expecting weather. Sweet Lord. Rain, wind, hurricane, holy cats. And then they downgraded to a tropical storm. But there's stuff, and we're not used to that. I mean, if it's not sunny and 70 degrees, with all love and respect, we tend to get maybe just a little hysterical. So I'm there Friday morning, and I'm flying on United, San Diego to Newark to Providence, Rhode Island. Providence is a small airport, but it's the closest one to the Cape. Not a lot of flights in and out of Providence. But because of the storm, and I'm not making fun of anything because I don't understand the requirements for the weight of the airplanes and all the rest of that, but they couldn't leave with a full tank of jet fuel. So they would have to stop someplace and get and fill the tank. So it was going to be San Diego, Kansas City, Newark. Or San Diego, Albuquerque, Chicago, Providence. So every single one of these would have put an extra hour on my flight time, and I would have missed the connection. So I really could not get there on Friday. So I could go, okay, I've got to get there today. You could put me on JetBlue. I think they have a nonstop. Maybe put me on Southwest. Maybe put me on another airline. I can run all over the airport. I can fight this. I can fuss with this. Or, and please keep in mind, this is completely out of character for me. I could just say, okay, for whatever reason, I'm not supposed to go today. So, the still small voice said, maybe you'll know why, maybe you won't know why, but for whatever reason, because it wasn't a matter of life and death, you're not supposed to go today. So I called United and said, guys, and they said, oh, I'm so sorry. Let us give you a flight credit and rebook whenever you're ready with no fee, and whenever you want to go, you can go again. So took the shuttle back to the parking lot, picked up the car, and came home. And watched the 1/4 inch of rain in La Mesa because that's all we got. How important it is for us to let it be easy. To let it be easy. In our passion, in our dreams, it's supposed to be easy. And if it's not, there's another way to look at this. There's another way to do this, because it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be easy. So we just learned these most amazing lessons. Ernest Holmes, in this thing called You, wrote, "This spirit is happy, whole, free, filled with joy, eternal in its existence, and can provide you with everlasting expansion. All your highest hopes and dreams have come from it." So living our dream, living this life of purpose, passion, and persistence has to do with what lights us up. What are we here to do? How are we here to make a difference in someone else's life? Because it's not possible, and I know you'll agree with me, it's not possible to give without receiving. It's not possible to give that unconditional love and that generosity and that wisdom and that compassion without receiving something in return. Because, and I'll close with this, Muhammad Ali said, "Service to others is the rent you pay for your home here on earth." So what lights you up? What bugs you? What really makes your soul sing? What are you passionate about that you could do to make a difference in the world tomorrow? I'll give you the rest of the afternoon off. But tomorrow, what can we do to make a difference in the world? So with that in mind, join me in the light for just a minute. So in the peace and the quiet of this moment, we offer great gratitude for this beloved spiritual community that we call OM, for the opportunity to be back together today, either in person or on Zoom. We give thanks for the opportunity to be reminded of the truth of our being, that we are the beloved. We are the essence, expression, and experience of Spirit. And as we are reminded of that and acknowledge that, we are reminded that we're here to do something wonderful that makes our heart sing and makes somebody else's heart sing too. So we allow ourselves, if we're not sure, we allow ourselves to ask, what's my divine purpose? What's my dream? And how will I accomplish that? Knowing that once we state our intention, once we get clear on what it is, life always, always, always says yes to us. So we allow ourselves to move forward in that questioning, in that I don't know, in that anticipation, if that's where we are, knowing that it will all be revealed to us when we're ready. We give thanks for that wisdom, for that oneness. We offer gratitude for our time together today, for this beloved spiritual community. And together we say, and so it is. Thanks, everybody.